Representing Raise Your Edge, it is PtitDrogo.
You know, so these players have obviously played against each other because, I mean, as you do when you're in the top of the circuit, right? You get to play against the same guys over and over and over. The fact that Serral's... What's up?
Sorry, that gateway was kind of late. I mean, it was like...
You went gas first.
Yeah, it had like 185 minerals. But man, there is a 12 pool happening.
Right.
And Drogo is not scouting yet. Now, every now and then, we like to think, like, when you play against somebody really good, what you should do is be extra greedy, just save those minerals, you know, just try to get the cleanest possible build order out there. If Drogo doesn't send out a probe real sooner, doesn't spot those Zerglings in the center of the map, this could actually be a 3-minute game.
It really could, because, I mean, the gateway isn't as soon as it could be. It's a Nexus going down, and this probe scout is super duper late, and it makes me think, like, to get onto my point, that have these two played against each other recently? Drogo's a player that tends to stick to patterns, like he'll change monthly kind of thing. But if he has gone into not scouting very early on and spotting this is like, oh dear. So what does he do? He starts pulling a lot of probes.
Yep, he's going to chrono boost the Zealot immediately. There's obviously only a single pylon in the natural. What is Serral going to go for? Really just fight the probes? Or does he start working on the pylon? Instead, he wants to fight the probes. That's not a good fight for the probes because the Zealot isn't here yet. So Drogo takes a lot of probe damage immediately. Now there is a lot of surface area on the pylon. At least the Zealot is out, but it gets surrounded immediately. I actually would have liked to see Serral just go for that Zealot. I'm pretty sure that would have been an easy kill. I mean, so many Zerglings though, man. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think he could have got it as well. The fact that he was kind of indecisive about it and then let it get out of the surround, a bit problematic for him. Drogo's microing his heart out here. Nice probe drills, actually. Will he be able to clean all this up? It looks like he will, and it's 7 probes falling. Zealot will... Oh, actually, all said and done, even though this is good for Serral, I think Drogo could have been way more dead than he is, but... Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, well, he could have been without life support, and now he is on life support. But yeah, I mean, considering the fact he scouted it that late, obviously he got a couple of good moves up with the probes. But make no mistake, this is an incredibly successful opening for Serral. We've seen these openings sometimes only get like 2 probes, and that's it. And then there's double gate up and running already, and then the Zealots can maybe counterattack a little bit. Serral did a tremendous amount of damage there.
He definitely did, and you can see that he's ahead in supply, and if you're thinking like, oh, this isn't too terrible, is it? Well, the thing is, the Protoss can only produce 2 probes at once, and we do see that Serral is already eking out a little bit of a drone lead, and at this stage in the game, normally it's the Protoss that's ahead in workers.
No, spot on, Ben. Often it's around like the 4-minute mark, 4 minutes and 30 seconds that Zerg will finally have more workers out on the field than Protoss do. If a Zerg player is ahead in workers, even if it's just by a couple at the 3-minute mark, you know that it's been a very sweet start for the Zerg. And I think Drogo already knows that he's in a lot of trouble. Serral's going to get a perfect scout on the Stargate as well. I kind of hate seeing games like this because if it's the other way around, then it gets exciting, right? It's like, oh, can the underdog close it out? You know, he's off to a very good start. But now it's Serral with a very good start. And I feel like we all kind of know where we're heading. Even if it's going to take like 4 or 5 minutes, Drogo needs a miracle.
He really does. Like, and this is one of the things that makes Serral so much scarier than he's ever been. The fact that he is willing to do this kind of stuff. So even when you think like, oh, he's going to play safe, isn't he? Like, he knows he's better than me, potentially. It's like, well, he will also do a 12 ball, and it'll be at the perfect time. This guy's game sense and just ability to play this game and know this game and know his opponents is just second to none, honestly.
Yep, the adepts are not very successful as the first adept will fall. The second adept is actually in a bit of trouble as well as it's still on creep. At least that one will live, but I have a hard time imagining that these oracles are going to be very successful with the spore crawlers already halfway done. We currently have 4 queens out on the map. I mean, there hasn't even been any anti-air to take care of this overlord of Serral that has had absolutely perfect vision. To make things even worse for Drogo, he is supply blocked at the moment, and it's kind of a big one. It's been going on for a couple of seconds, and the pylons are only now finishing up. So he's going to fall further behind economically, and it's just not very pretty.
Yeah, like this is a matchup where the Protoss is meant to slow down the Zerg, not the other way round. And now he's got to climb up a mountain to do it as well. There's like lots of queens, there's spores in every base. It's not like there is a base lacking. Serral knew he was ahead, and he's gone, and he got the full scout off. So he's actually reacted to this like as well as he possibly can, even having queens in perfect locations and stuff. One drone does fall, takes a little bit of damage. That's about the best that Drogo could have hoped for.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, this is just not the kind of game where an Oracle sweeps in and gets 5 or 6 drones all of a sudden because, like, oh no, I didn't expect the Oracle. Serral knew about it a long time ago, even before that Stargate finished up. So he had more than enough time to prepare. And I feel like we're witnessing a relatively one-sided affair here in game 1. Trying to look at it from Drogo's point of view, it's like, is there still some sort of a push, some sort of an attack that he can hit? I feel like normally that's where his strength is in this matchup. But if any timing you had is out of the window, right? After you lose that many probes early on, after you're just working with way less than what you're used to. If it normally it cuts it close and Zerg will barely have enough units to hold. Right now, Serral is going to have an overwhelming amount of units to hold. So I almost feel the only thing that Drogo can do is just try to channel his inner showtime and go full demour and somehow try to like drag this game out, maybe have a couple of great holds with some War Prism, Micro, Shield Batteries, Immortals, but yeah, that's obviously an uphill battle as well.
Is he going to be able to survive for that long, though? Because Serral, he made a lot of additional Overlords, and he has a lot of supply to use, and I've seen him produce nothing but Roaches for the time being. Drogo's been, like, very good about scouting for a 4th base and stuff and hasn't seen it. But the thing is, the game's so weird and so out of whack that it's kind of hard to know how good a position Serral's in, and we see it, Kevin, Nidus Worm going down as well.
Every time I see Serral Nidus, I think back of a little chat I had with Serral a while ago, as he joined me to cast a couple of games of a Finnish tournament. And we were talking about Stargates in this matchup and mass air. And Serral was like, no, I Nidus that. I was like, yeah, but you can do it differently as well. You can go Glaives into Stargate. He's like, oh, Nidus that too. And I was like, yeah, but what if they go like triple Stargate? And he's like, I Nidus everything. And I was like, oh, I loved it. It really made me laugh. I was like, what a perfect way to just summon everything up, Serral.
Oh, and look at this. This Nidus is going completely unscouted as well. And I mean, Drogo, he's getting kind of a nice position here at his 3rd to try and deflect something, but when that Nidus goes up in the main, and the fact that Serral's popping up a Nidus here so he can quickly go between the bases. Nice Oracle usage to deny the Nidus, actually. But there's an army also in Drogo's main that he can't deal with. And oh my god, is he going to get charged before it's done as well? GG. I'm not surprised. Yeah. Drogo, he just fell behind from the 12 pool situation of the game.
Exactly. That's why I said 4 minutes in that it's kind of difficult to commentate games like this, because obviously we'd like to portray a world where that's still a competitive game, but Serral is incredibly good in StarCraft 2. And when Serral gets that far ahead, like 7 probes that early into the game, a lot of lost mining time as well, and that is more than you could ever wish for. A lot of Zerg players are completely okay with 12 pooling, and then just forcing out the double gateway and the double chrono on the Zealot adapt. A little bit of lost mining time with probes on hold position. They'll be like, oh no, this is playable. Now, you know, take that script and then add 7 drone kills or 7 probe kills on top of that. Obviously, that's more than okay, and it's pretty much game over at that point.
Yeah, and when you're already kind of hoping that you can get small edges in the builds when you play against Stefano, the fact that you went for the no scout and he did that of all builds, like that is the worst case situation. I know a lot of people don't like to think about the rock, paper, scissors aspect of StarCraft 2, but that is a massive, massive rock going up against paper and not knowing about it as well.
Of course, what Serral did in the early game was nice. There was an Overlord in the center of the map that did spot the probe of Drogo. Saw it very late. That probe was always going to be late and was always going to be a bit tricky. But if Serral would have just ran his links in a straight line towards the main base of Drogo, or the natural of Drogo, then at least Drogo gets 2 or 3 seconds of heads up. And that could really make a very big difference when you're facing a build like a 12 pool. But obviously, Serral, being the veteran of this game, knows where the probe is, makes sure that his Zerglings go through the bottom of Lightshade, and then Drogo saw it even later, not until he was actually in the natural of Serral. I think he just saw it too late, Ben. It's as simple as that.
I do actually wonder what build he was going for as well, because he went for the gas first, and then the gateway with the no scout, right? And I do know that back when like the DT openings were very, very popular, like the 4 DTs and then into the Archon, that was like the fastest DT drop you can have available. And maybe bringing something a bit you know, not super meta these days, but back into it and trying to utilize that against Serral. I definitely wish we got to see what he had in store, you know?
Yeah, no, I think you're actually onto something there, because I think back of maps like Cyber Forest, where Drogo actually did that build quite a few times, and he would hit really quick, right, with 3-4 Dark Templars, and often the spores wouldn't be up yet. So yeah, maybe that was Drogo's plan, but because of the way the game opened up, he's like, you know, we'll just go Oracles and try to make something of it. Anyways, here we go again, apparently, guys. Game 2, Romanticide in the bottom right side. We're looking at the main base of the French Protoss player. He is representing team Raise Your Edge. It is PtitDrogo.
And spawning over in the top left-hand side, playing for Team Ents, it is Serral.
Do you like fun facts, Ben?
Give me him.
All right. Serral is the only player in this tournament who hasn't dropped a map yet.
That is a fun fact, Kevin. Thank you. I thought you were going to say something like, you know, maybe a bit mischievous or something like that, but yeah, I'll take it.
Obviously, in the previous season, DreamHack StarCraft 2 Masters Fall, we did see Raynor go 7-0, 14-0 in his group back then. But Raynor already dropped one map on the very first playday against Hellraiser, which was a very fun best of 3. And Clem dropped a map yesterday against Aquaron, so Serral's the only undefeated player left in this tournament. Drogo is once again scouting pretty late, and once again, like the overlord of Serral is going to spot this probe. So most likely the Zerglings of Serral won't be revealed. I want to say not until it's too late, because Romanticide is a much bigger map, right, than Lightshade. So this time the probe is, he's just going to show them. I guess otherwise it just takes way too long. But this is a much, much bigger map, so I'd say that Drogo should be able to defend it a little bit better than he did on Lightshade.
I hope so, because then we get to see a bit of a game out of it, right? The probes are pulled, and not too early either. In fact, that probe pull about as late as it could possibly be, while still being relatively okay.
Oh.
And yeah, this time the Zealot's out already. This is already much better situation for him.
Yep. Now, obviously, it's still important that you don't overreact, that you don't lose all the mining time in the world. But so far, so good indeed by Drogo. You got to be careful with the Zealot, because that's the only Zealot you have at this point. I mean, at this point, Serral's just going to try to be as annoying as possible. He makes so many links. It's 10 Zerglings. This is the fight, apparently, that Serral feels like he wants to take. And I got to say, with the Zealot falling that early, I mean, much better defense by Drogo, regardless.
Way, way, way better. Like, you know, I kind of, you made fun of me a little bit last game, Kevin, saying, you know, he's not quite dead, but he's very close to being super dead. In this kind of situation, like, how do you feel about this one?
I think it's about even. I think the defense was good, but Drogo did take it very serious, obviously as he should, because it was 10 Zerglings. And as our observer is showing us as well, Serral was outmining Drogo for quite some time there. So much better than on Lightshade. This is a very playable game, but I don't want to make it seem that Drogo's ahead right now, because that goes a bit too far for me, because it's still a lot of lost mining time, 2 probes falling, and yeah, you know, chrono boosted Zealot, etc. So all of these things, they kind of cancel each other out.
How do you feel about the fact that he's not mining gas at all, is Drogo? Like, he's just completely all about the minerals.
I don't think that's very good.
Well, thank you, Kevin. I wanted to know if there's something, like, cheeky going on here, like...
No, I don't think that's... I think that's a mistake. That has to be a mistake. Oh, wait, he just... No, it's not a mistake. Drogo just wants to go up to 3 bases. 3 minutes and 40 seconds into the game, he's like, I know you Zerg players. If you open up with 12 pool to economically recover, you guys don't get Zergling speed. So this was not a mistake. I gotta say, this is really cool.
Yeah, and there you were, Kevin. There you were talking about it being a mistake. I felt that there's something might be cheeky going. I thought it might be like a gateway burst, but then I was like, okay, there's no Twilight Count, so it can't possibly be that. But the third base, I like the fact that Drogo's doing something like this, and it is a smart call, considering there's nothing to worry about for the time being.
Nope. I mean, Zergling speed is not even on the way yet. Obviously, we don't have a lair. Yeah, I actually kind of like it. This is going to be a weird game right now. Like, this is obviously not a scenario I think that you practice a whole lot, because every 12 full defense is different. And now Drogo is not going to have any opportunities to slow down Serral. But Serral will also not have any opportunities to slow down Drogo. I guess the first moment that Drogo can be aggressive is probably a Warp Prism, right? I would say you will always want to open up Warp Prism here, so at least you can maybe be annoying with 2 Adepts on the other side of the map. Shade them in, get a couple drone kills, pick them up again. That's kind of what I'd like to see. I'll be sad if he opens up with an Immortal here, because that would really seem very pointless to me.
Yeah, I mean, like, whenever you're playing the game of greed, there's no point solidifying your position. You want to slow down the other guy or get really far ahead, right? And the Immortal doesn't really achieve either or, really. That being said, I do know Drogo likes to get into that Immortal, Zealot, Archon-y kind of army very, very quickly. And when you've been allowed to get him to 3 bases, we'll see.
Okay, so is it going to be Observer first? Yeah, I guess Drogo would probably just think like, well, I'm in a really sick spot. And he's obviously not in a bad spot, but you said this in the previous game, and I like the way you put it. Protoss players can only produce 2 workers at once on 2 bases. In this case, it's 3 workers at once. Zerg players will still always be able to outgreed a Protoss, because they don't build 3 drones at once. They're going to build 6, 8, 10 drones at once. But we do see charge on the way already. 1 Immortal, so I guess it's 1 Immortal, 1 Warp Prism, and then we just go?
It might just be just that, Kevin. And, losing a few probes here, and, they get away. There wasn't any force field energy available, and that was definitely a nice little victory for Serral. But this game is certainly a lot closer than the previous one. Like, Drogo hasn't been mortally wounded, getting 3rd base up and running very quickly. I am worried about Serral just exploding at some point and, just doing like a Swarmhost Nidus play or something like that against Drogo.
Well, Drogo is getting a Dark Strike. The Observer is going to try to get recalled, but the Overseer and Queens were on top of it. So Drogo not only loses his Observer, but he also loses a little bit of a Nexus energy and the recall. No, I guess Drogo's just going to chill for a long time, Ben. He's going to get some Archons. We're going to get a Dark Strike. We're going to get a Templar Archives. And you mentioned Swarmhost. I think you're spot on. I think it is indeed going to be Roach Swarmhost. It would really help Drogo if he would mine out that little mineral wall, right? Because that seems like the perfect spot for Swarmhost to just siege this Protoss base.
And I think when he starts seeing these killing these rocks and stuff, maybe he's like, in fact, it's a double-edged blade, isn't it? Because if he mines the minerals, then that's another point of attack that he can be under. But if he does realize it is against Swarmhost, then you have to get rid of those minerals.
I mean, Drogo obviously lost his Observer, like I mentioned. He hasn't really seen what additional tech has been dropped. I don't know if he's thinking of Swarmhost or not, but hopefully he will be able to figure that out soon, because we know how quickly the Zerg supply explodes when they go for Roach Swarmhost. You blink twice and they're maxed out, especially when that guy is Serral. Right now, 69 workers apiece. That's always a good spot for the Protoss. Army supply, though, 99 against 47. Drogo needs a lot of static defenses. He's getting it right now, Ben. He knows what's up. But I'm just wondering about if it's too late or not. Hey, Serral doesn't have any Spore Crawlers, so those random Dark Templars that are running to the other side of the map, they could potentially deal a lot of damage.
They definitely could. I mean, he has the ability to make Overseers, but there's only 1 Overseer on the map, and this is it. So those DTs, like, they have got a big job on their hands, but I think they're going to get away with a lot of damage.
Well, the first wave of Locusts is often the most important one. It goes down, tries to get the Archon, doesn't get the Archon, does get the Sentry. Overcharged battery is one hell of a drug. And Serral will start losing the drones at home. You can see these Dark Templars already attacking multiple mineral lines at once. At the same time, Drogo is losing his 4th base, though. This game is going to get wild, man.
Super wild. Serral is maxed out, but his army doesn't really get any better than it does right now. Like, it's not as if he can make more units than 200 supply. Drogo has bought time with these DTs. He is currently a little bit supply blocked, and he has a big bank to spend, actually. We'd call this the Drogo bank, but then he'd look at us real funny. But yeah, he's producing a lot of High Templars. Nice bait by Drogo. Nice bait by Drogo.
That was sick by Drogo. Serral with a very uncharacteristic mistake, but 1 Zealot just forced all of these Locusts to land. And that's a big boo-boo, because now Drogo has time to spend that money. He's getting additional upgrades as well. He's up 10 workers. That Nexus I really thought was going to go down for sure actually survived. I know Drogo is still down 60 supply, Ben, but I'm starting to be very hopeful for him in this game.
This is way better situation than it was like a minute ago. It was 200 supply against 110, and now he's jumped up 30 supply. His army's getting stronger and stockier. Oh my gosh, these Swarmhosts are caught out in the middle of the map as well. Swarmhost does come up with the Locust, so Drogo does have to run away, but his army's getting a lot bigger.
Yeah, I think Drogo's army is more than powerful enough to just fight this. Even the Locust. There is a Roach counterattack happening, but cannons and once again overcharge to the rescue. Serral starting to lose quite a few Roaches left and right. A few Dark Templars here would really make Drogo's life a lot easier, because I didn't see an Overseer with this attack. But Drogo is that confident, he's flying around. Just spend your money, Drogo. All he really needs to do, man, is spend that money, and then I think he walks away with this game.
Hey, I mean, he's got 10 gateways, and okay, there, he just warped in a lot of stuff. We're going to see a lot of photon cannons going down, a lot of shield batteries going down. And yeah, that's a lot of 8 cannons at once. Yep, you definitely had the minerals to make a lot of stuff. And he's now up to 4 bases, Kevin. And Serral's army, even though he's teching up to like Hydralisk Den in the Hive, it's not really a supply-efficient army at all.
I think Serral panicked a bit when the Dark Templars obviously showed up in multiple mineral lines at once, but that Nexus, that really should have been a super dead Nexus. He had like 20 Roaches standing next to it. There were no units protecting it. Serral's gonna try his luck here, but I really think that's too many cannons, too many batteries as well. And I mean, sure, a couple of these buildings do go down, but he's not getting on top of the Immortals. He's not really getting on top of the Archons. Obviously, Serral wouldn't be so... Oh, no, Drogo with a mistake. Leaves 3 Archons behind. I think he can afford it, but you can't do that twice or 3 times.
No, you don't want to be doing that. Like, obviously, I mean, while Serral, he wants to kind of trade out the Roaches over time while he techs up to like Lurkers, Hydras, and all that jazz, which is a nice tech choice by Serral. So he isn't all in by any means. Yes, his drone count's lower, but when you're already kind of close to maxed out, it doesn't really matter too much.
Nidus network going down as well, potentially going for some Swarm Host Nidus plays. Oh, Drogo eats a lot of crossing balls. This is actually a bad fight, I think, for Drogo, as the Swarm Hosts are going to fight the Immortals. Well, it's not that bad of a fight, as he does take care of a lot of the Roaches on the top side. Serral, where is your army? He's maxed out, but I don't see it. There are 10 Hydras on the field as well. Drogo has to be a little bit careful on creep, because there's a lot of micro potential for these Zerg units on creep.
Oh, and the Biles, they do hit the Immortals, triggering the barriers, which is the most important thing. But Drogo, he's recalling away that poor Archon. Oh, and loses quite a few of the Immortals there in the last second. It definitely feels like Drogo might have overextended a little bit, because, I mean, he's on 80 probes here, Kevin, against 58 drones.
Oh, he didn't have to be that aggressive. Look at the production tab as well. He's got +3 on the way. He's got Storm on the way. Another base is being warped in. I think Drogo just got a little overexcited there, where he's like, oh my god, this is going so well. I even survived the wave of the Locust, but yeah, Serral wouldn't be Serral if he doesn't use all Locusts at once. Or, you know, he splits them up, so he's got 2 waves to fight. And when all the Hydras joined with the Roaches, all of a sudden the Zerg army became a lot more powerful. Drogo is still in it, and if he survives for another minute and a half, I would even say he's in a really good spot, even though the supplies may tell a completely different story. But with Storm, with static defenses, those are some magnificent Storm, even though he's going to lose a couple of the High Templars, but he saves 4 of them, morphs them into Archons. Great defense.
Super good defense by Drogo. Like that shield battery overcharge. Oh my goodness, that Nexus just staying alive there. But yeah, the shield batteries have definitely kept Drogo in it, and even managing some of the counterattacks as well. And Serral's bank is entirely gone here. I think Drogo, like, despite this game being as crazy as it is, he's getting more than back into this.
I think Drogo's winning, Ben. I absolutely believe he's winning. He's up 12 workers. He's got a War Prism that Serral's clearly struggling with to deal with. Technically, Drogo has the better army. Even if the Lurker count goes up to like 10, 12, I still think +3 Immortals, Archon, Storm should be good enough to get the job done. I mean, we know that Serral is capable of making crazy comebacks. Does Drogo spot the Nidus in his main? Yes, he does. Already warps in a couple of units. I really think this is Drogo's game at this point. Even if he's down 50 supply, that's just the way that these games look when you go up against Swarmhost.
I always worry when I see Lurkers on the field, though. Adaptive Talons is finishing. And you laugh, Kevin, you laugh, but Lurkers in a good position against this army of Drogo. Like, you have to get a good flank on it if this Lurker count, like, reaches the double-digit numbers.
You know that our units don't have 45 HP, though, right, Ben?
That is true, yeah. That makes it a little bit easier, Kevin.
All right, War Prisms did allow Drogo to take out this hatchery on the left side of the map. Serral is going for a big Locust attack, this time at the bottom, but I gotta say, not the best Locust usage once again. Just kind of drops it on the gateways, and Serral doesn't really get much out of this at all. 2 probes fall. Tries to get a Knight. Is that a dead spot in the main base? Oh my god, Drogo doesn't have vision of the corner of his main.
That is, I mean, this could get dicey real soon. Is it just going to be continuous swarmers? I feel so Kevin, I'm going to say, if you got lurkers out here at the top of the ramp, that is a scary position to have them, all right?
Oh, my poor Benjamin. You really have been traumatized by those lurkers.
I'm scarred, mate. I'm scarred.
All right, Serral got so excited that he actually popped that Nidus a bit too early, so he couldn't really fire the wave of locusts yet. Drogo now realizes there is creep in his main, I hope at least, as he's going just to town on the main base. I mean, this game is nuts, man. Drogo is doing a lot of damage in the main of Serral. Serral is destroying the natural of Drogo. 20 probes go down. Drogo does run up a ramp, and he doesn't care about those lurkers the way you care about them. And he pushes Serral's army back. What a game.
Man, I need immortals. That's what this game is telling me, Kevin. But lots more lurkers joining the fray. That warp prism has been really the lifesaver for Drogo this game. It has kept him more than in it. He does lose his natural and a lot of probes, but he's actually still fairly decent. The probe count, the harvest count's fairly similar between them, and does get out with a large squad in his main base. Serral's bruised and battered.
You know, in my opinion, Serral shouldn't have gone for the natural. I actually thought he was going to fire all those locusts into the main base. You kill probably that Nexus, you kill 8-9 pros, but then you might kill a Twilight Council, a Forge, Temple Archives, on power gateways, as the locusts are going to be able to take out this base as well, though, and the damage is starting to pile up. But, okay, he got the Nexus in the natural on 20 probes, but I actually felt there was more value for Serral to go for all the production facilities in the main.
Even though I felt that Drogo wasn't in the worst spot a while ago, I think as this lurker count does keep scaling higher and higher, it's going to be so much harder for him to bully around the army of Serral.
I actually kind of would like to see disrupt this. I really feel if we were watching the can right now, I'm pretty sure we'd have 7 disruptors on the field, just fire Novas one at a time. I think Immortal Archon Storm is very good against lurkers. But I think up to a certain amount, right? And 19 lurkers, yeah, that might be pushing it a little bit.
These locusts, I mean, they haven't been, super duper game winning, but they have been a real thorn in the side of Drogo the whole game. And look at the resources lost tab as well, Kevin. It's 24k for the Protoss and 17k for the Zerg.
That's pretty insane.
He's been very cost efficient.
Normally, that's the other way around in this matchup. It's the Zerg losing way more. A couple of Zealots are going to try to find more damage on the left side, but Serral very wisely left a couple of lurkers behind. Drogo thinks of running into 17 lurkers, and I'm not sure. A lot of his units are very clumped up. The storms are massive, though. The Immortals are going to town, but Drogo needs 7-8 extra Zealots to get on top of these units. He doesn't have those Zealots, and that was a very costly engagement for the Frenchman.
Yeah, he definitely wounded a lot of those lurkers. He's trying to defend at his third base against the locusts as well. The High Templar does fall, but it does help take out a lot of those locusts for very few losses. The thing is, Serral behind all this, he's mining very freely off the bases now. That one warp prism that Drogo has is, it is trapped in the top left of the map, and the other one, it's just sat at his fourth with an Immortal and a Probe in. I don't even think he knows about it.
I didn't know about it, so it's kind of hidden, to be honest. Kind of hard to spot because it's on top of a simulator. Drogo is going to try to fight his army, as a lot of these units still a little bit low on HP. Mostly worried about the amount of storms that we have at this point, because it was way better before. The mothership is out, so you could maybe cloak the army, but there are so many overseers nearby that I'm not sure if the mothership is going to be super impactful.
Nah, me neither, but this is definitely lulling him out of position here, and Serral, he kind of takes the high ground here. He's morphing in a lot more lurkers, but right in the face of Drogo. The thing is, he's so close to maxed out here, and Drogo, he doesn't have that bank anymore. He doesn't have the ability, he has to fight now.
No. He's got no storms left. I mean, he's got 6 High Templars, but he barely has